Men of our generation spend their lives afraid. They're too scared to ask out the girl, to walk into the gym, to ask their boss for that promotion. They're paralyzed by fear, and as a result, they never get anywhere. If they added up all the times that they'd spent afraid, it would add up to years. Years of their life wasted because they couldn't scoop the nuts. But the men of our tribe are different. We stare fear in the face and laugh. Then we vanquish it through action. We've realized that fear has the power to paralyze, and so we've made the conscientious choice not to let our lives drift away due to our own passivity. When we want the girl, we ask her out. When we want to start the business, we jump straight in. Even if we fail, we're no worse off than we were to begin with. Which one do you want to be, bro? If you can watch this video from start to finish without distractions, then I can teach you one very simple, actionable way to overcome fear. So the other day I was sat on a bench outside, waiting to go to work. And I was sat in front of a shop, right? And there was this bird who clearly wanted a bit of food. And you'd kind of walk into the shop, and you'd walk out of the shop, and you'd walk into the shop, and you'd walk out of the shop, every time getting a tiny bit closer, but then getting afraid and flying away. And he never actually got any food. And that's what got me thinking about all of this. You see, that bird spent like a good 15 minutes, yeah, and probably longer after I left, trying to get food from that one restaurant, keeping on going in and out, but it couldn't because it was too afraid. If it had used that time to go and like find food, I don't fucking know, somewhere else, in a park, then it would have got it so much quicker. And that's a parable for so many of our lives. We spend so much of our lives thinking about making decisions, stepping in and out of the shop, rather than just acting. So back in the day, in my first year of university, I was with this girl who I didn't really like, and I wanted to break up. But there was this kind of fear within me. There was a mental block because I was afraid of loss. I was afraid of like being alone in the world. And so I didn't do it. I stayed in this relationship that I didn't enjoy with a girl who I didn't love for months because the alternative seemed so dire to me. And just like that, bro, months of my life had gone. Months of my life where I could have been doing better things just because I was too paralyzed by fear just to rip off the band-aid. And the same is true for so many emotions, so stress as well. So my mom recently had to switch jobs. She was forced out by some like change or whatever, and she had to change work. And in about like the year-long process that it took, she went through a lot of stress. She'd constantly be worrying and talking to us and like crying and like just being like, I can't find a job anywhere, I'm so fucked, whatever. And it completely paralyzed her. For that entire year, she spent it in deep stress and worry. But what happened? At the end of the year, she got the fucking job, bro. Because that's the thing, is with emotions like stress, often you'll spend so long, stressing about the thing. You'll work yourself up so much and become so emotional to the point of fucking tears, bro. But the end outcome will be the same as if that stress had never been there in the first place. So how do you overcome that fear then? And the answer takes a while, but it's basically by training your fear reflex. And there's two ways to do it. And there's one very easy, like actionable step that I'm going to teach you. And then the other one is just a mindset shift. So the practical tip, super easy, it's called the 3-2-1 method. And basically, what it asks is just before you need to do something, before you need to rip that band-aid off, you just count down from 3. You go 3, 2, 1, and then you do it, whatever it is. And this is one that I mean, like you have to train it up slowly. So maybe you have to get out of bed in the morning and you go 3, 2, 1, and you just get up. You have to train it slowly. And the easiest way to do this is by taking cold showers. So every single morning, it's a really hard thing you have to do, right? You're afraid of doing it. Count down 3, 2, 1, turn it on. Full blast, cold water. Train up that kind of 3, 2, 1 reflex. And you actually have to do it. So when you get down to 1, you need to do that fucking thing, bro. Train up the reflex so that in the future, when bigger things occur, when like you have to, I don't know, like ask for a promotion, break up with your girl, ask a girl out, whatever, you can just say 3, 2, 1 and then go. Like if you see a cute girl in the fucking shop, yeah, count down in your brain, 3, 2, 1. And by the word of 1, you're walking. You're heading over to approach her because you've trained that reflex within you. When your brain hears 3, 2, 1, now it knows action comes next. Then the mindset you need to create is one that will take a longer period of time, but basically you need to create a mindset of optimism. You need to do this by having a genuine belief that everything will be all right. And the way I did this was through Stoicism back in the day. So Stoicism basically teaches that a lot of things can go wrong in your life, but you'll still sort of be okay. So there's this practice of negative visualization, which basically just says, imagine yourself losing things and kind of see how you'd react to them. So say you lost like the t-shirt you were wearing. You'd be out of a t-shirt, it would kind of suck, but you'd still be all right. Say you lost like the fucking house you were living in. You'd be out on the streets, you'd be cold, you'd be wet, but you'd still be alive, you'd still be all right. These things aren't ideal, but they're not going to kill you. You'll still be all right throughout a lot of them. You need to become kind of optimistic that whatever situation you're put in, it'll be okay. You will survive it. And once you realize this, that you can lose so much and still be okay, then you'll be able to start taking those risks more. The things that made you afraid before won't seem as scary anymore, because in your brain you know that you'll be okay. You'll be able to risk losing things so much more easily. And then the other part of it is kind of become more fatalistic. And I'm not saying necessarily believe in the existence of fate, but develop a belief that things are going to turn out the same whatever you do. So like my mum, if I'm waiting to hear back from a job, no amount of worrying about that will really change the end outcome. If I'm like wanting to ask a girl out, however long I wait, the end outcome won't really change. Like, she either likes you or she doesn't. And then the other part of it is, if you go into these things with less stress, say that you want to ask out the girl and you're constantly worrying about it, you'll probably go up to her and you'll be like, oh, do you want it? Like, you'll stutter and you'll just be shit and whatever. But if you can go into it with no stress, because you believe in fatalism, you believe that she will either say yes and she will say no, and that is predetermined. You can go up to her and just be like, hi, like, my name's Tom, like, here's my number. And that's just that. You'll believe that like whatever you do won't really change too much. There's already a preconceived image in her head of you. She will either reject you or accept you. And that is it. Nothing will change that. And so there's no point in being stressed. And the irony is that without that stress, you perform better. You don't stutter. You don't screw up your lines. And so you achieve better results. And I'm making it sound really easy, but often it really is. So like a lot of the time when I was going through exams at school, I had this kind of belief. I developed this mindset that, well, being stressed about this stuff doesn't really help. I've got this amount of knowledge in my head. This exam paper is going to show up. I can't change those things. I've done all the work that I have to do. The exam paper is going to be the exam paper it's going to be. And I can't change that by stressing. My stress, though, does worsen my performance. If I go into this exam stressed, I'm not going to do as well. My mind won't be flowing as freely. I'll spend the first 5 minutes worrying about even opening the fucking paper. If you go into it with no stress, though, if you go into it saying, right, I know everything I know, what's going to happen is going to happen, you will do it and you'll perform so much better in it. So yeah, develop a mindset of fearlessness and practice the 3-2-1 method. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like and a comment. You'll find those right below the subscribe button. And join the Discord. It's full of young men just like yourself who are trying to grow themselves, who are trying to better themselves. Come onto there, talk to me and the other guys about your self-improvement journey, about the struggles that you're facing. Also, recently I've started doing these calls, so go back to the description. There's an application form. Fill in your preferred date and time and book yourself in for a free one-to-one, fully confidential call with me. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Manifest excellence. Goodbye.